Take a closer look at these pictures. Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, Noam Chomsky, Michael Jackson, even Bill Gates. With every influential person, there is a common person. He is the notorious criminal Jeffrey Epstein. Do you know what this man did? Girls between the ages of 12 and 18 were trafficked from different parts of the world and brought to him. Then they were forced to have illicit relationships with various influential people. He had his own island, Epstein Island, where not only minor girls, but many other girls of different ages were imprisoned on Epstein Island. Even if anyone wanted to, it was forbidden to leave without permission. This story is not just the story of one person, but of a network of billionaires. How do they save their rich friends? The names of right-wing activists like Steve Bannon and left-wing academics like Noam Chomsky come up everywhere. From the current American president, Republican Donald Trump, to former president, Democrat Bill Clinton, to the current richest man in the world, Elon Musk, or Bill Gates, who has been the richest person in the world for 18 consecutive years, their names are also in this Epstein file, where it is said that Bill Gates later contracted an STD due to an illicit relationship with a Russian woman. Businessmen, politicians, physicists, magicians, Hollywood celebrities, or members of the royal family, all of them are somehow connected with this Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein is of Jewish descent, born in 1953 in New York, USA. He enrolled in New York University but did not complete his studies. He started his career as a private school teacher around 1974. However, his entry into the vast world of finance came in the 1980s after joining the New York investment bank Bear Stearns. During this time, he began to be introduced to the elite class of New York. People around him called him a bounty hunter, meaning he helped rich people recover their lost money. Later, in 1988, he founded his own financial firm, J. Epstein and Company. Epstein only gave financial advice to people who had $1 billion or more in assets. Do you understand what level this man is playing? There is a famous American brand called Victoria's Secret. At this time, he was introduced to Leslie Wexner, the founder of the company L Brands that built this brand. Through him, Epstein got the opportunity to enter a billionaire circle. His network was built with influential and wealthy people in the world. He was often seen with former American President Bill Clinton, current President Donald Trump, and former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, and was invited to various parties. There, he would mediate between them on various issues, in short, what is called brokerage. You are already hearing the news that the King of India, Narendra Modi, is dancing from Donald Trump. These are from the Epstein files. It was not a problem to do so much because it is legal in America, but all the activities of this man were not normal. Epstein had his own island in the Caribbean Sea. Epstein bought this island, called Little St. James, in 1998 for about $7.5 million, although this island is known as Epstein Island. It is alleged that Epstein and his associate, Giselle Maxwell, used to bring underage girls here and physically abuse them terribly. There was a blue and gold domed building here, which looked a lot like a temple.
There are various conspiracy theories about this. For example, rituals, black magic, or secret parties were performed here. Although some things are conspiracy theories, it is true that very bad things happened on this island. How bad? Take a look at this picture. You are looking at a book called Lolita, and some quotes from the novel Lolita are written on the girl's feet. There are some such pictures in the Epstein file, with various quotes from this novel written on the girls' bodies. The novel Lolita was written by the famous Russian writer Vladimir Nabokov. In this novel, a middle-aged man named Humbert is unusually attracted to a teenage girl whom he affectionately called Lolita. After hearing this, I hope you can understand who was attracted to which age group of girls here. In addition, Epstein's own Boeing 727 model plane was used to arrive at this island. The main purpose of using this private jet was to maintain strict secrecy so that no outsider could track this plane. Epstein's clients used to come to his island on this plane. That is why this infamous plane is known as the Lolita Express. For a long time, the general public did not know about this dark world of the island. For the first time, Epstein's misdeeds came to light in March 2005 through a complaint received by the police. A 14-year-old girl and her parents in the Palm Beach area of Florida filed a complaint with the local police station. The complaint states that a classmate at Royal Palm Beach High School offered her $200 to $300 in return for going to a rich man's house and giving him a massage. But after going to that rich man's house, the 14-year-old girl was sexually harassed, and that rich man's name was Jeffrey Epstein. The police then spoke to the girl and discovered a pyramid of victims, where one victim was connected to another victim like a pyramid. Within a few days, the Palm Beach police identified more than 30 victims. Basically, the victims were poor girls with weak family structures. In addition, most of the victims were between the ages of 13 and 16. By May 2006, the Palm Beach police had a strong case ready against Epstein. In July of that year, the FBI also joined the investigation, and Epstein was charged with unlawful sex with a minor. However, Miami attorney Alexander Acosta made a secret deal with Epstein's lawyer. Because of this deal, he was sentenced to only 18 months in prison. Not only that, Epstein was given VIP privileges inside the prison. He was even released from prison in July 2009, 5 months before the end of his sentence. Another thing is that Alexander Acosta, who saved Epstein from trial, later became the Secretary of Labor in the Trump administration. After being released from prison, Epstein has been living a very normal life on his island for a while. However, such a big criminal did not have peace for long. The Miami Herald, a newspaper published from Miami, America, plays an important role here. And the journalist of this newspaper, Julie K. Brown, has been following this case very closely since Epstein was released in 2009. In November 2018, she published her report. Not just one or two, but a whole series of reports on Epstein's crimes. She revealed to everyone how the American justice system had saved Epstein. Julie named this series Perversion of Justice. After the full story came out in the media, a massive movement started against Epstein. Pressure on the government to bring him back to justice increased. Then, a new investigation began against Epstein in New York.
Julie identified more than 80 victims in her investigation and interviewed 8 of them directly. Finally, Epstein was rearrested in July 2019. But let me tell you something interesting. Epstein is no longer a bystander, because the whole story takes a turn on August 10, 2019. News comes that Jeffrey Epstein tried to hang himself using a bedsheet inside the prison. But that day, something strange was happening inside the prison. Just the day before the incident, Epstein was moved to another cell with several of his friends. As a result, Epstein was completely alone in that cell that night. 2. The prison's CCTV cameras were not working that day due to some mechanical fault. Later, when the government released the footage under pressure, it was found that exactly 1 minute of Epstein's death footage was missing. In addition, one of the 2 guards on guard that day was sleeping and the other was busy shopping on his mobile phone. As a result, none of them were paying attention to Epstein. All these coincidences gave rise to many conspiracy theories. Many people started saying that Epstein did not get himself arrested, someone else removed him from the world. And these theories were promoted the most by Trump's supporters. I know you are surprised. You will understand all the explanations later. They claim that Epstein had some information about the Clinton family, that is, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton's family. The Clintons removed him to cover it up, although later, after the Epstein file was released, it was seen that Trump himself was a better friend of Epstein than Clinton. Anyway, I'm not saying that Clinton is a good person. During the 2024 presidential election, this Epstein issue came up again. Donald Trump announced that as soon as he became president, he would make all the Epstein files public. After Trump was re-elected as president in January 2025, everyone was waiting for the release of the files. But after taking office, Trump suddenly took a U-turn. He started saying that the Epstein files were a boring issue. It was basically a Democrats' issue. The government didn't need to waste time on these issues. However, Trump's own MAGA supporters started pressuring him to release the files. Even Trump's biggest supporter, Elon Musk, once said on Twitter that maybe Trump's own name is in the Epstein files. That's why he doesn't want to release it. Although he later deleted the post. Because there was a problem, the post had to be deleted. However, the Trump government came under severe pressure. This is where the story of releasing the Epstein files begins. The Epstein files are actually a huge collection of thousands of documents where documentary evidence of Jeffrey Epstein's dark activities is preserved. A special part of this file is the Epstein list. It is believed that this list contains the names of those influential people who have received immoral benefits or services from Epstein at different times. However, no such list has been found. If you want to know more about the Exactly Just file, you can read these texts from the screen that is now being shown by pausing this video. I did not go into much detail about these files. Do you know the name of the famous Israeli intelligence agency, Mossad? The Epstein file talks about their connection. You will get an explanation of why Israel has such a great dominance in American politics. Wait a little. Epstein's biggest accomplice in these immoral acts was Ghislaine Maxwell, his lover, who basically played the role of a madam, those who collect new girls in the profession and supply them according to the needs of clients are called madams.
Both Epstein and Maxwell were of Jewish origin. This is where the theory of their link to the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad comes from. According to some, they used to trap the world's leading politicians, scientists and billionaires in honey traps on behalf of Mossad. For example, they told Donald Trump, "I will give you a girl tonight." Donald Trump fell for this honey trap for fun. They collected all the video footage of that room. Later, before any policy was decided in favor of Israel, they could show that footage or picture to Donald Trump and say, "If you don't decide in favor of Israel, everything will be leaked." This is their honey trap. Many people think that Epstein is behind the great influence of Israel on American foreign policy today. I mentioned Trump's story as an example. Evidence of this Mossad connection mainly comes to light from two sources. One, in Epstein's own emails. Two, through an Iranian hacker group called Anjala. A few months ago, this hacker group hacked the phones of several top Israeli officials and leaked some secret chats and information, which indicated the connection between Epstein and Israeli intelligence. At the center of this entire network with Epstein was former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Barak's acquaintance with Epstein was very old, and the two of them even owned a joint company. Epstein's biggest connection to Mossad was through Robert Maxwell, the father of his lover, Ghislaine Maxwell. He was a British media tycoon and was also said to be a suspected Mossad agent. After his death, he was buried with state honors in Israel. This means that the entire Maxwell family was already connected to Israeli intelligence, and Ghislaine was carrying on that legacy through Epstein. Just as Epstein had a very close relationship with Mossad, he also had close ties with the American elite class. Donald Trump will come first. According to the New York Times, Donald Trump and Epstein had a friendship that lasted for about 20 years. This friendship, which began in the 1980s, deepened over time. Between 1990 and 2000, they would meet regularly at Trump's hotel or Epstein's private residence. Epstein's emails show that Trump knew about all of his activities but still kept quiet. Trump even traveled on Epstein's private jet, which has been accused of abusing women. Girls were auctioned at various parties where Trump's name also appears as an auctioneer. Even Trump's son is accused of abusing a 13-year-old girl. On the other hand, former President Bill Clinton's name also appears many times in the documents. As a result, Democrats are also facing a lot of criticism. Another Democrat, Meera Nair, the mother of New York's new mayor, Zoharan Mamdani, is also mentioned in the email. However, many of the photos circulating online are fake. tech world heavyweights Bill Gates and Elon Musk are also mentioned. In an email from 2012, Musk is seen asking Epstein, "What day or night do you think the wildest party will be?" Although Elon Musk later claimed that this email was misinterpreted. On the other hand, in another email, Bill Gates was involved in an extramarital affair and asked Epstein for help in procuring special drugs for Russian girls. Epstein even claimed in an email that Bill Gates later contracted a sexually transmitted disease or STD. Although the Gates Foundation has dismissed these allegations as false and absurd. But perhaps the most serious part of the case is the allegations against Prince Andrew, a member of the British royal family. A victim named Virginia Giuffre alleges that Epstein forced her to have sex with Prince Andrew in London when she was just 17 years old.
However, people around the world are most surprised by the names of famous scientists or stars. The names of famous physicist Stephen Hawking and world-famous magician David Copperfield are on this list. The name of pop king Michael Jackson is also there, as is the name of famous left academician Noam Chomsky. I've already mentioned the former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak. His name was mentioned in the Mossad connection. The name of British politician Peter Mendelsohn is also mentioned. Outside the files, it is being discussed. In 2009, a model named Gabriel came out of a party and shouted, "They ate people." Although no one paid attention to the matter at that time, many are now trying to find a link to Epstein. You can't think that just because his name appears in the Epstein file, it means he was an associate of Epstein. The video pretty much ends here. I explained a very complex topic: politics, women, illegal activities of some people, a dangerous network including spy agencies. A dark world of trying to be good behind a mask is coming before everyone. We are trying to show relatively less disturbing things in this video because then the video will be demonetized. Mainly, Epstein's history and background have been highlighted here, and an attempt has been made to give you an idea about the basic things. There are many documentaries and videos available on the Epstein file. You can watch them on YouTube. And if you like this kind of video, you can subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to click the bell icon next to it. I try to provide new videos every week. Everyone stay well and healthy.